So I want to talk about Disney Lorcana, a new trading card game from Ravensburger and obviously Disney. Now, as we celebrate the release of the game's second set, there's no other better time to explore why I love this game. Now, before diving into the gameplay, there's a crucial problem that I want to address that's vital for anyone that's interested in Disney Lorcana, and that's the pricing. Unfortunately, many local game stores are marking up prices significantly, sometimes up to 2 to 3 times the MSRP. This practice is not only unfair, but also potentially alienates new players, who may perceive the game as prohibitively expensive. A real concern, especially when trading card games are already expensive. So let's clear the air about what the real MSRP of Disney Lorcana products in USD to ensure that you're informed and can make the best purchasing decisions. For starters, the starter decks, an ideal entry point for new players, are priced at $17 MSRP, though some places I've seen as high as $50. The gift set, which varies between the first and second set, is either $30 or $50, but I've seen them as high as $150. The Trove, with an MSRP of $50, has a similar high price at $150. And then individual packs, which is how probably most people are going to get most of their cards, are meant to be $6, and I've seen them as high as $15. Booster boxes, which have 24 packs, doubling from their $145 MSRP to $300 in some cases. Now, I'm going to delve deeper into the pricing issue a little later in this video, but it's crucial to highlight this upfront for those of you particularly interested in the game's affordability. But for now, let's dive into the world of Disney Lorcana. Now, Disney Lorcana caught my attention for 2 reasons. First is my love of Disney, and Ravensburger's involvement, which they make the successful Disney-based board game, Villainous, which has had a couple spin-offs with Marvel and Star Wars. While Lorcana is mechanically distinct, the influence of Villainous is apparent. Lorcana should feel very familiar to Magic the Gathering players, but it has its own unique twists. Instead of reducing an opponent's health to 0, players quest to accumulate 20 lore. Battles involve challenging tapped creatures rather than direct attacks. Key differences include the innovative ink system. Replacing the traditional land mechanic in Magic, players can ink most cards, turning them face down in their ink well to generate resources. The system allows for more consistent resource availability and strategic decisions, ensuring almost all cards in a 60-card deck are playable, not with a third of them just being lands. Once your card is inked, the color no longer matters. All ink can be used to play any card, but to balance this, you can have up to 2 colors in your deck. Beyond those changes, ink works the same way as Magic. You can play once per turn, you tap them when you play a card, and they're restored at the start of your next turn. With the introduction of uninkable cards, they are able to balance the really strong cards with them being a chance that you may be stuck, not being able to ink something, or being forced to ink something you don't want. There are, of course, other differences, but those 2 are some of the big ones. One of my favorite aspects of Lorcana is the thematic touches, like characters not being able to be used the turn you play them because the ink is still drying. And in addition to the usual items and abilities, you also have songs. These special abilities can be paid for normally with ink or by tapping characters that meet the requirements. The songs also help add some funny moments, like having Scar sing Mother Knows Best, and then trying to actually imagine how that would go. But they also keep the songs in Disney lore. For example, the human form of Ariel has voiceless, so she can't be used to sing a song. So let's take a look at some of the cards and combos. Now, this is not even scratching the surface of what is available in this game. With 2 sets out now, there are 408 unique cards in this game, and I am just going to show a few here. Starting with the card I already referenced, you have the human Ariel. And as you can see, she has voiceless, so she can't sing songs, but you can use her to explore what makes up a Lorcana card. At the top, we have the cost to play her, as well as whether or not she can be inked. Comparing her to Lilo, you can see the difference. The symbol is different, but it still shows how much she costs. And then we have the attack power, defense, and these symbols here show you how much lore you will get if you quest with her. Now we can also look at how this compares to the mermaid Ariel. Obviously, she has a voice, but now, keeping with the lore, she is actually a more powerful singer than her cost would normally dictate. She can sing for songs up to 5 cost. Now let's actually look at a couple songs. Every song card tells you what it costs to sing. At the top, you can either pay the cost in ink to play the card, or it will tell you what the cost of the character you need to tap to play the song. Now, I want to look at a combo, and actually a fairly powerful combo in the game. But first, we should talk about a mechanic in the game called shifting. Basically, if a card has a shift cost on it, you can play that card on top of another card with the same name, and it is instantly dry, so you can quest and challenge with it right away. Now, not every card has this ability, but for example, Dr. Facilier, instead of needing to pay 7 mana to play him, I can instead pay 5 and play him on top of the other Dr. Facilier. This leads directly into that combo I mentioned. So the shifted Dr. Facilier says if one of my characters is banished in a challenge, I can return that card to my hands. Then I bring out Mickey Mouse, which says I can pay 1 less ink to play any broom characters. And that whenever one of my broom characters is banished in a challenge, I may return that card to my hands. Then I have the Magic Broom, which, when I play it, I can shift a card from any discard pile into their deck. So, I enter into a situation where I can just leave Dr. Facilier there and don't tap him or use him. I can just quest with Mickey Mouse and the broom, knowing that both will go back to my hand if they are challenged and killed. And when I play brooms later, they are cheaper. Plus I get to shuffle cards back into my deck, giving me a protection if Dr. Facilier is destroyed. This is even more powerful if you have 2 or more Mickeys out, which makes your brooms free, and you can have 4 of each broom card in your deck. So this is just a few of the cards that are available in this game. But a highlight of Disney Lorcana that I particularly enjoy is its inherent flexibility. While the game is primarily designed for one-on-one play, its adaptability to multiplayer formats is remarkable. I've had the chance to play with 5 or 6 players, and these sessions were incredibly fun, even more so than one-on-one matches. The chaos and excitement in these larger games, where players may cunningly collaborate or compete, trying to secretly edge towards victory, or make strategic alliances, even if they may be short-lived, adds a whole new dynamic to the gameplay. Furthermore, Lorcana's unique ink mechanic shines in draft play. In these scenarios, the usual 2-color deck restriction can be lifted, allowing players to utilize every card they draft. This eliminates the common concern about balancing color ratios, as seen in games like Magic the Gathering, where land distribution is crucial. Lorcana's approach here simplifies deck building and draft play, focusing more on strategy and less on color management. However, Lorcana being a new game has areas for improvement. The absence of instants or trap cards limit reactive play, and certain mechanics like deck searching are not as powerful as in more mature games like Magic. There is currently no pure search your deck for a card, and there just really isn't much you can do to counter your opponent if they're on the verge of winning, or pull a card that completely shifts the game. Like if they want to play a whole new world. That forces everyone to discard their hand and draw new. There is nothing you can do to stop it at the time of playing. There also isn't a side deck, so you can't put more situational cards into your side deck to add in after your first match with your opponent in a tournament. I feel like they were likely considering it, since in the first set, there is a card that has an effect on one other card your opponent may have. And this is the card. We have Moana, that when you play this character, I may banish chosen character named Taka. And here's Taka. This is only a valuable card if your opponent has this character. So it feels like there was supposed to be a side deck. And I believe this is about as situational as you're going to get. Like, this is one card for one other card. And it would be perfect in a side deck. However, I feel like with the second set coming out, and while I'm not going to talk about them specifically out of respect for Ravensburger, but we did get a leak from set 3, I think it is clear that they did not intend that set 1 would introduce all of the basic mechanics for the game. They are likely over the first several sets going to be building out all the basic Lorcana rules and seeing how the community reacts, which means that I hope they will resolve some of these issues over time. And that is how all card games work, but it did surprise me how quickly they are introducing key mechanics into the game. So returning to the pricing issue, Lorcana's popularity led to supply shortages, causing some retailers to inflate prices. They underestimated how popular the game would have been. And we could say, well, it's Disney, they should have known, but there have been plenty of Disney things that didn't sell as planned. So I don't think from the outside looking in, that's a valid argument. And it's also going to take them time to respond to that increased demand and print more cards. But that also doesn't mean that I'm excusing Ravensburger from this situation. It isn't like they don't deserve some of the blame for the stock issues. The problem is these stock issues have been taken advantage of by the stores, specifically local game stores that are selling product for well over MSRP. I feel like they are actively hurting the community for this game and turning away new players by charging these prices. I have personally decided that I will not buy from these stores and will instead buy from big box retailers selling at MSRP. And I would much rather say that I support local stores, but until they act like positive members of the community, I just can't. And for those that can't find cards at MSRP and don't wish to pay inflated prices, you could consider buying singles online to get the exact cards you want. This approach supports the game and avoids endorsing inflated prices. In summary, Disney Lorcana offers a refreshing and thematically rich experience in the trading card game arena. Despite some growing pains, its potential is immense, and I'm excited to see how it evolves. Remember, support fair pricing, and let's build a thriving Lorcana community together. Thank you so much for watching.